and welcome to Are You Ready? My name is Randy Major. I'll be your host today. And joining me is President and founder of Asset Guard, Mike Carpenter. Mike, how are you today?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
So good to see you again.
Good to see you.
We've been having such great shows over the past several weeks. A lot of calls coming in, great questions from our viewers. So thank you so much for being here and providing such wonderful information.
We've been really busy helping people.
Yes, you have. So today, we're going to talk a lot about Social Security, which is a big part of retirement today, of course, and long-term care. So there's a lot of chatter out there about big changes coming with Social Security. Do you foresee big changes coming? What is the future of Social Security benefits?
It's not as bright as everyone wished that it was. When I first saw my statement in 2005, because most people, when they were sent their statements, which came 3 months prior to your birthday every year, you got that 4-page green and white and black printout. But on the front of it, I noticed on the far right-hand column, it said, without changes, if Congress doesn't act, we've got a problem. Now, I'm paraphrasing. And over the years, they moved that statement to the second page. Again, same wording, without changes, if Congress doesn't act, we've got a problem. And now, it's not even on your statement.
Okay.
And most people have to log on to socialsecurity.gov in order to get your statement now.
Okay. And are the changes listed there too? If you want to kind of stay up to date?
They're not on there. It will tell you how much your full benefit would be depending on your age. I'll be 63 this year. I was born in 1959. So my full retirement age is 66 and 10 months. Knowing that you were born after 1960, your full retirement age is 67. Now, both of us can start at 62 like everybody, and we both can delay till 70. But you have to understand what is the best strategy, when's the best timing to start that, and everyone is different.
Right, so it's not a one-size-fits-all, turn it on at this time and you're going to be good to go. There's really going to be that sweet spot for each individual person. So anyone considering or getting close to the red zone years should really consider coming in and having a talk to a professional about it.
Yes, we can run the Social Security report. So as we're working in that financial MRI that I've referred so much to, based on, what you have decided, if you were coming in and you said, Mike, I just want to start at 63. Okay, I'll put that in there, and I know how much your benefit would be at 63. And when we put all the other information, your income sources, your assets, and your expenses, then I'll go to tab 7, which is going to show us each and every year, all the way to age 100, what your financial picture looks like. And then I can also click a button and show you, is taking your Social Security at 63 the right thing to do or not?
Okay. Now, I'm a bit of ways away from starting to collect my Social Security, but I'm curious, is Social Security going to be taxed? Is it taxed?
Yes, it can be taxed.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most people don't pay attention to what caused the initial taxation. Back when they first taxed benefits the first time in 1983, the reason that happened is because in 1982, Social Security had a lot of problems, and the problems were caused by the cost of living adjustments that were being given to retirees in the 70s. I mean, for 5 years leading up to that, it was well over 50% total growth of cost of living adjustments for someone receiving Social Security benefits at the time. And what that caused was the first time they had to dip in to the trust fund that everyone hears about.
Yeah.
And, it's been in trouble ever since. So they taxed the benefits for the first time in 1983, and then they came back in 1993, and they said, hey, we want to get a little bit more of that money we're giving those wealthy seniors, and they raised the tax. So you could have right now up to 85% of your Social Security pulled over in the taxable column.
Oh,
Now, a lot of people sometimes will use these triple tax-free bonds in order to have good income in retirement, but the dirty little secret, there's a ghost tax, that interest that you're earning that you pay no federal income, state, or municipal tax, it pulls all of your Social Security income in the taxable column. So it might create a problem down the road when you start pulling money out of your IRAs.
I do not like the sound of a ghost tax, Mike.
No, that's a whole nother
scary.
That's a whole nother subject that we can address.
So what strategies are available to folks that they might not have heard of when it comes to Social Security?
Well, some of the strategies were eliminated back in the mid-2000, around 15 range. And there were some strategies that were available. To be honest, they should never have been put in the Social Security system, which allowed some people that benefited by knowing these strategies to drastically increase their Social Security benefits. And we helped a lot of people because it was legal to do it. But you need to understand, whether you're married or single, what is the best way to do it? I mean, basically, to give you an example, my dad started his Social Security at 62, and his benefit was about $1,500. And now he's 90 years old and still living. He takes no medicine. But had he waited until he was 70, he wouldn't have got $1,500. He would have got almost $2,700 in benefit. And had he waited to take it at 70, he'd be receiving $1,000 more per month right now.
But it's so tricky. How are you to know how your health is going to be, or what your future looks like?
Well, we certainly don't know that. I mean, God has ordained that day for us. But what I'll do is take a look at your lifespan. I'll look at and ask you, are your parents still alive, or if they've passed away? I'll do a very elementary way of trying to determine what your life expectancy is going to be. Because the $64,000 question is, if I start at 62, how much am I giving up? Or if I wait till 70, when is the break-even point? And it's usually somewhere around 80 to 81. But this software will tell us exactly what is the best way to take it.
All right. Well, we have to go to a very short commercial break. But before we do that, I'd love for you to tell the viewers what you have for them today, Mike.
Well, the number is 844-546-1009, and you can call, set an appointment to come in, and we'll run the Social Security report along with our overall financial MRI. We always do holistic planning. You can certainly ask me one question, but I'm going to have to ask you all the other questions to help you really determine what's the best way to take your Social Security.
Thank you, Mike. And to the folks at home, thank you so much for watching. What Mike is offering you today is completely complimentary for the first 10 callers. So we encourage you to go ahead and pick up the phone and call and get your retirement on the right track today. That number is 844-546-1009. The phone lines are now open, but please do stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more about Social Security and long-term care.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Are You Ready? My name is Randy Major. I'm your host today, and joining me is President and founder of Asset Guard, Mike Carpenter. Mike, we're having a great show about Social Security, giving a lot of great information to our viewers today. I was curious about something during the break. What happens when someone in a marriage passes away? What happens with the Social Security?
It's probably the most common question I get. So let's say that, for example, Bob and Mary. So Bob is earning $2,000 in Social Security benefit, and let's say Mary is getting $750. Now, if they had met with me, Mary would be getting maybe more because there's a spousal benefit that gives you 50% of whatever the husband or the larger wage earner is earning. But in this case, if Bob was to pass away, Mary's Social Security becomes a part of that $2,000. So in essence, she's losing $750 a month.
Okay.
Now, with Bob gone, he might have eaten a lot of food just like I enjoy eating, but it doesn't mean that his expenses are going to be reduced with him gone. So she's going to have to go figure out, where am I going to get this extra $500 or $600 or $700 to take care of now herself? And that's where she starts having to hit her IRA a little heavier.
Okay. Well, now I'd like to kind of shift the show before we run out of time to long-term care. I mean, sometimes in life we really have to face things head on, and long-term care is one of them. It's something we don't really want to think about, but it's something you really don't want to procrastinate on.
So there are a number of things that go on with long-term care. And when people think of that, their mind immediately goes to a nursing home. No one wants to go to a nursing home. And no one wants to visit anyone in a nursing home. I've seen it time and time again. A parent will go in and they might have their kids and their family coming in, visit them on a regular basis. All of a sudden, those weekly visits turn into 2 weeks and then once a month, and then they start fading off very quickly.
Right.
But the point I'm making is that no one wants to go there. But statistically, if you're 65 years old, you're going to have 50% of the people staying in some kind of facility. It might be rehab after a surgery, but you have to understand, we all know we don't want to go there, but there's a financial element, there is a relational element, there's an emotional element, there's a number of things you have to calculate, and my wife and I experienced that when my dad came to live with us.
But yeah, I think that's to another point, is a lot of folks also don't want to be a burden to their kids or their loved ones. I mean, but it's inevitable that one of the two is going to occur.
Yes, and this is where planning comes in, because again, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't want it to happen, but most commonly, strokes put someone in there. Cancer or heart issues, they basically will take your life, but stroke and dementia, Alzheimer's, and that's what puts people in there. But, a stroke can come on you just like that. And, a couple of years ago, I had a client, she was feeling good on a Saturday, went to church on Sunday, was feeling a little faint. She had someone drive her to the hospital, and sure enough, she was in the process of having a stroke, and she didn't last much longer. And she ultimately was in a nursing home for a couple weeks. But you have to have a plan. You have to tell your loved ones, if this happens to me, then I have saved this money to take care of me, because it's not about, I don't want you sitting there worrying, oh, I'm spending all this money, I can't pass anything to my kids. If you have the right plan in place, you can plan on those inevitable experiences.
Yeah, and you could do both, right? Take care of yourself and pass money on to your kids.
And getting back to the Social Security issue, if you go in and all your income, if you don't have a long-term care plan, that Social Security income is going to go to the nursing home, which creates a problem for the healthy spouse at home.
Right.
If the husband went into the nursing home and he was the high wage earner and you didn't have the assets to really pay, all his Social Security might be going to the nursing home.
If that was even enough to cover it now. The prices are so crazy.
Well, I had one recently that was in a facility, and it was a full-blown Alzheimer's situation, and he was in a memory care unit. It was $9,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's $108,000 a year.
It's mind-boggling.
And, you know, you got to be prepared for it because the prices are only going to go up.
Right. So life insurance. Now, should everybody then have a life insurance policy?
Well, it depends on what the ultimate objective is for the life insurance policy. Many times I will build a policy up that will help pay for these long-term care benefits or help pay let's say in our previous example, Bob went in a facility, he had a life insurance policy, and then, you know, he passed away after a year and a half. If he has life insurance, that's going to help, you know, his wife have the quality of life that she's going to, you know, need and desired. So, you know, that's why getting together early to do the planning, we can take all of these, what we call the uncertainties of life. In our PowerPoint presentation, when I'm doing public workshops, I have these uncertainties of life that I have referenced as clouds, because when they come in, you want to make sure your financial house is ready to handle whatever kind of storm comes your way.
And life is always handing us some storms,
Yep.
always, whether it's, illness or whatever it is. I mean, we have to be prepared for anything.
And there's also issues. Here's another big one that's happening. I had a client 70 years old. He and his wife got a call 3 years ago and said, you need to come down and pick up your grandchildren. They had to go down and pick up the 4 children from his wife's previous marriage. These were grandchildren that were coming to live with them because of some situation. It happens a lot. Now, when those children come into your family and they're under 16 years old, they now are able to get some benefits from your Social Security. In his case, 70 years old, he had just started his Social Security. Now those minor children can actually get similar to a spousal benefit. You got to know. You got to deal with someone who understands these things.
Absolutely. We have to be prepared as early as possible for any situations that life is going to.
You never know when you're going to get that call.
Yeah, exactly. So, Mike, we have to take another quick commercial break. Let's remind the viewers of the special offer you have for them today.
844-546-1009, and you can come in the office and we'll talk about not only Social Security, but long-term care as well. So it all goes into the financial MRI so that you can see exactly where that problem might lie.
Oh, thank you, Mike. And folks, education is everything in all of our situations. But when it comes to your retirement, the more you know, the better off you're going to be. And you don't know what you don't know. That's why you come in and meet with Mike, and he's giving you the opportunity to do that today, complimentary. So call the number on your screen. It's 844-546-1009. The phone lines are now open. Please do give us a call, book your appointment, and call us too with your questions. And we're going to be coming back with some viewer questions from earlier in the show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Are You Ready? Are You Ready? I'm your host, Randy Major. I'm chatting today with Mike Carpenter from Asset Guard, and we thank you for calling in and booking your consultations, and we are getting your questions, and we're going to get to some of those right now. The first call is coming from Anne Marie. She's in Mocksville. She says, I want to take my Social Security at 62, but I plan on continuing to work. Will my Social Security then be taxed?
It could be. So basically, if you start your Social Security prior to your full retirement age, remember mine is 66 and 10 months. So if I start my Social Security at 62 and I earn a certain amount of money, then I could conceivably lose $1 of benefit for $2 I earn over that threshold. And so it's basically around $1,650 a month. And if you earn more than that, then you're going to lose benefits. It's not really a tax in a sense, but you'll
Okay.
lose benefits. It's not permanent, it's just in the year. Then once you reach your full retirement age, you could earn like Warren Buffett, gazillions of dollars a year, and you'll never lose a dime of your benefit.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Next, we're going to go to a question from Winston-Salem. This is from Kevin. Why do annuities get such a bad reputation?
Well, mostly because people don't understand annuities. They've been around for a long, long time. I mean, they have actually gone back to the Roman era, back before Christ, that the annuities were in existence. But now they have changed quite a bit, and they used to be part of pension programs. They were the ones that funded pension programs, but most people just don't understand them. There could be a high fee structure. You have a fixed annuity, which is a lot like a CD. You have a variable annuity that is tied to the stock market in some degree. And then in between, you have a hybrid that could be called, it's an indexed annuity. But you have to sit down with somebody who understands how each one works, what's the benefit, what's the time frame, if I get sick, what happens, if I die, what happens, and we reassure, we educate.
Okay.
Before anyone makes a move, if you're going to go into any kind of annuity, we educate so that you know as much about an annuity as I do if you go down that road.
So do most folks have annuities that are getting close to retirement? Is that a common piece of the puzzle, if you will?
Generally not prior. Many people, when they reach retirement, if they're sitting down with somebody who's showing them a variety of vehicles that they can use to safely grow your money. Remember, in retirement, you cannot lose your money. I mean, you saved this money for 35, 40, 45 years, and it now needs to last for 20, 25, 30 years or longer. My oldest client was 100 years old when she died, and she still had plenty of money. And so I do all my planning to age 100. And the question I ask people is, which strategy is going to guarantee your income for the rest of your life? And we look at all the potential ones that you can look into to determine what's best for you.
And I love this because this is the biggest difference between meeting with you, an independent firm, than going to one of the big box places on the corner. You are tailoring this retirement plan to that person. You are spending time with them. You're not just, selling them whatever's on the menu that week.
Education is vital. I mean, I like whenever someone comes in my office, my objective is to make sure they're leaving there feeling better than when they came in. Now, I would love for them to take that move and that step and become one of Asset Guard's client, but they must have, the education to give them the confidence. Because
Yes.
when they walk out of there and they're sitting down to dinner or lunch with a friend and they say, well, who's your guy?
Yeah.
And they can say, Mike Carpenter at Asset Guard. He really educated me before I made any decisions.
Mike, how long have you been helping folks retire?
Since 1991.
And how does it make you feel when you can confidently tell someone, it's okay, you can retire, you got this, it's time?
I love doing that. Many times in our settings, I'll be able to, we run the MRI, and the client comes in and they said, well, I got to work the rest of my life. And inside of a space of 30 minutes, I can determine that very conservatively, they're not going to run out of money. And I'll hand them the phone and say, call your boss, tell them to pack up your stuff, send it to your house with the last check.
Yeah.
You're ready to go right now. And I've had people cry.
Oh, I'm sure.
I didn't know I could retire now. I thought I was going to have to work the rest of my life.
It's an emotional and a very big deal.
Yes, it is.
Especially when you can do it and not have to worry.
It's an amazing feeling.
Yes. Okay, we have time for just one more
All right.
question. This one's from Rob in Greensboro. Is there a general safe number you recommend to have saved before you retire?
Everyone is different. There's no number I could put on that. I go back to you need to sit with somebody to determine what that amount that you're going to need in retirement. It might be $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a month or more. But once you know that, then you can determine how big your nest egg is going to need to be.
Yeah, and it really depends too on what that person's, what they want to accomplish in their retirement, what their dreams, what their goals are. And this brings me to kind of tease next week's show is you have Darlene joining us. And just tell the viewers real quick who Darlene is and what service she adds to your service.
Darlene's coming all the way from South Africa, and she is going to be our retirement coach, where we help people uncover what they have suppressed their whole life. And we want to make their last chapter of their life the very best chapter. You might have done this whenever you read a book. You always turn to the last chapter. How did the story end? Well, when you retire, that's the beginning of the rest of your life, and we want it to be the best.
Right. So I love that so much. I can't wait for next week's show. So ladies and gentlemen at home, please tune in next week. You don't want to miss it. But before we end the show today, let's remind the viewers at home what the first 10 callers are going to get when they call in today.
Well, when you call 844-546-1009, you can set that appointment where you come in and sit down. The appointment might last 30 to 45 minutes, and we're going to gather all the information about you, and we're going to run that financial MRI so you can know exactly what's the best way to take your Social Security. We're going to protect against long-term care, but most importantly, you're going to have a plan that you know your money's going to last as long as you do.
Thank you so much, Mike. And folks at home, the name of the show is what you need to ask yourself today. Are you ready? Are you ready to take that next step? Are your finances in the right place to retire with confidence and peace of mind? Are you ready to live out the dreams and the things you wanted to do your whole life? Come in and see Mike, and he will help you get there if you're not. So call the number in your screen today, 844-546-1009. Again, that is 844-546-1009. Thanks again, Mike, and thanks for spending time with us, and have a beautiful rest of your day.